What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Spandau Ballet. Once again, big shout out to Han Solo for sharing some of their catalog with me, as well as Lori and some others who've been commenting along the journey. And we're moving to the next album, 1984 Parade. So yeah, a parade is a concept or a term that's used in different ways, but ultimately it tends to be something that is very visual and a procession of multiple entities, so it feels like a good title for an album. Nevertheless, the first track is Only When You Leave. So when I first looked at it, I immediately thought Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, If You Leave, and then Spandau Ballet, Only When You Leave. It just, like, for some reason it felt like I was in, like, oh wait, what am I looking at? Isn't that the, oh wait, no, it's a little bit different. So yeah, something happening only when another person leaves is an interesting phrase. The idea of their presence precluding something or enabling something that then dissipates when they leave, but only when they leave. Makes me think about language and logic, meaning like philosophical logic. Whereas if with two F's means if and only if, not just like if something happens to happen in this way. But it's like if that happens and only if, meaning it's not like that and something else, it's not something else also qualifies, it's if that and only if that. So I wonder if it's that level of specificity. Either way, let's find out. This is Spandau Ballet. The track is Only When You Leave, and it's the first track on their 1984 album Parade. More of that sort of nightclub feel that a lot of their music has. Extending that line, take this all the way, and the essence of what we're talking about. It's clever. I like that little keyboard crescendo. There's a joke somewhere in there. See also Monty Python's Medical Love Song. So leave it all behind. Only when you leave, I need to love you. The music is very danceable. I'm just a little fool enough to need you. Fool enough to love. Only when you leave. It's sounding really good without dominating or overtaking the rest of the sonics. I like all of this. part in that line makes me think of like a George Michael or Wham song.
Must you break? How many calls must I make? But now you're leaving in this world. All that I choose has come unbearable. Love is in your touch. Ooh, it's killing me so much. Only when you leave, I need to love you. And when the action
The sax.
I'm just a little fool enough to need you. Fool enough to love. Only when you leave in danger. Oh, I'll make sure that you pay. So give a little passion to a stranger. And take this No, only when you leave in danger. Oh, I'll make sure that you pay. So give a little passion to a stranger. Take this soul away.
It's
I'm just a little
It's perfect. It's, exactly when it either needed to like extend that vocal and sort of end naturally, so to speak, or start to fade out. It does that. I mean, honestly, it's amazing. I love that track. It's very Spandau Ballet as I've come to know them, but I feel like everything works there. Like, and I'd like to say, I've talked about a lot, like, 80s guitar. There's a certain flavor, whether you're talking pop rock, metal, punk rock, something about a lot of 80s guitar riffs. They just have a certain flavor. I feel like 80s sax is very much a thing, and this is another tune with a very 80s and very fantastic saxophone. But yeah, it's like every part of this works. As I mentioned, I think Hadley's vocals are great, and unlike some other songs where he maybe just takes over the whole tune because he goes so big, which I don't even think is necessarily a bad thing. I think, part of, what I've come to think of when I think of their tunes is the way he can just ignite his voice to this much higher level, seemingly instantaneously. But I think in this one, he's just in the perfect mode. Like, he's doing his thing. He's got a very charismatic and good voice, but it doesn't dominate any of the other sonics. It's just like in its place, like where it should be. The guitar riff, very nice, very tasty. The sax riff, ultimately, as I mentioned, so much of their music, and this one is another great example, it just has this groovy nightclub dance floor feel to it. And yeah, it sounds like we're talking about a very physical, sexual relationship, and the idea that sometimes you want to have that with someone you don't really know, and it's very exciting, and then maybe it's so great that you're sad when they go off on their own life, because maybe it was never meant to be something permanent, or something that became a bigger relationship. It was just a passing ships in the night, like special connection, go your own ways. But then it sounds like the narrator is saying, like, now that that's happened, I burn for you, which again, there's a medical love song joke somewhere in there. But yeah, it sounds like only when they leave does the narrator realize, oh, like, I need that. Like, I have more passion for that. I need to have that. I need that, to be part of, the physical sexual experiences that I'm having. So it sounds like a one-night stand that then the narrator wants to experience more, but the other person has gone. Now, maybe it could be a longer-term relationship. It could be, something it's touch and go. They have an occasional sort of thing, which, I feel like there's a lot of people who will know, like, what that's like, where, maybe there's someone that you were in a relationship with in high school, and they go off somewhere, and then whatever, and then in your 20s you end up, spending time together again, and maybe you rekindle it. So it could be something like that, where it's a longer term. It's like only when you leave, every time, then I realize how much I miss, having that connection with you, even if in the moment it feels like, it's just strangers. So ultimately, I'd be more inclined to think the short-term option, that it was a one-night stand, which then the narrator is, wondering, can I have more of that, because I burn for you. Either way, as I said, I feel like this is the Spandau Ballet tune most perfectly in the groove for them yet. which I know there were a couple. Gold. I remember there was a big reaction to that, and ultimately, I feel like there's been a couple others that people said, whatever I think about their larger catalog, this is a great tune. But I feel like this one, like, surely, and the fact that it's the first track on an album, that gives me a sense that maybe the group knew or the producers knew that it was a strong track, and it's one that'll make people want to keep listening to the record. So either way, top tune. Shout out to Han Solo, as I said, for sharing. Let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.